in our YouTube. This is a stream that we're running on Twitch, but I'm uploading this onto YouTube later. To catch you up where we're at, we're almost finished. We're almost done part 2. Part 2 is part of our 3-part chunk. We're calling this a 5, 5, and 5 design process. So we originally did 5 wildly different wheel constructions. We then FEA tested those, so finite element analysis. We did a really rough test of those to find which one of those wild variations of our design were different. We then took the winner of that group, so the winner of the first 5, and built 5 versions of that. And that's our part 2. So building 5 versions of that, testing each one of those versions to see which is the strongest, which changes we've made are best, and then what we're going to do is select one of those 5 for our final 5. Our final 5 is going to be part 3. Part 3 is going to be trying to get a little bit more strength out of our final design, but also trying to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So the first 2 parts are about like nailing down the best structure. Our third part is, refining that structure a little bit further and trying to make it more attractive. And that'll lead us to a final design, the one that we feel is kind of going to be the best before we move on to manufacturing. So we're just near the end of part 2, where we've done 4 of the 5 designs in our part 2. We're going to start today with our 5th design of that. We'll do some stress testing of that, and maybe we'll get into starting part 3. So yeah, welcome to the stream. Hi. Let me get my second computer going up here. This is our rendering computer. Awesome. I just use this. I use a second computer to do our finite element analysis. But yeah, we'll get streaming here. I realize there's a couple things I have not set up yet. That'll make life a little bit easier for us. Cool. All right. So we have, let's just take a quick review here where we're at. So in part 2, we've done, essentially, technically we did 5 designs. We did a part 2 version 4, and we did a part 2 version 4A. But I want to do a part 2 version 5 for sure before we move on. Sweet. Why is it that every time I start a stream, everybody's just like, oh, Quinn's streaming? Message, as I drool out of my face. Let's take a look at some of our where'd all my stress information go? You know what that is? I know where that is. Let's dig that stuff up. This isn't going to be the most wildly exciting stream in the world, and that's okay. This is not essentially for entertainment purposes. It's actually specifically for showing our process of creation. By documenting our process of creation, we sort of can allow customers and people that are interested in our product and what we do to kind of know what's going on and how we do stuff. And sometimes it's really, easy to assume that somebody just got to the solution on the first try, but we really don't want to get to the solution on the first try. We want to fail a bunch of times so that, we know why we succeeded. Actually, we had a guy at a drift event recently who did really well. It was his first time ever drifting, and he did exceptionally well, but I don't think he knows why he did well. So we have what's called driving well with skill and driving well with luck, and I feel like he maybe ended up in the luck section, and his next event might not go well because he's not sure why he did well. So yeah, we're looking at some stress tests from our part 2. This was version 1. This was a radial test. We have an axial test of it as well, or a torsion test. Yeah. This was our part 2 version 2 in our axial test, or in our radial test, and then our torsional test here. This is part 2, version 3. Again, a radial test, and then a torsional test. Part 2, version 4. Weirdly enough, even though this one looks like it has the most amount of stress. We'll have to dig into this a little bit more, because yeah, interesting. Okay. Neat. All right, well, let's build a 5th version here. I'm going to try to be a bit wilder on this 5th version just because we have the opportunity to. We've done some stuff. The big thing that defines our particular design is the undercut. There's a cut that goes just above the bolt, and I've got a bit of a plan for this one. I'll see if it works. I might have to redraw this one a couple times just to kind of get it right. All right, so let's begin here. Let's just get into the potatoes and the meat. Yeah. If you have any questions during this, if you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Twitch, whatever the case may be, if you have questions, just talk to me about it. I would love to talk to you about it. This is kind of what I like doing. I like doing this stuff, so don't be shy. It's also okay to be ignorant, and it's also okay to be smarter than me as well. I don't think that you should be less intelligent about it. The reality is that I am not the world's smartest person. I am not the best at this. And so you might be better at it than I am. That's okay. Contact me, challenge me. I need that. It helps, actually. Okay, I want to... How do I want to do this? Let's do an extrusion on this guy here. Let's draft him outwards, 45 degrees, wild. Let's give him 40 mil. Seems aggressive. Let's do 30 degrees. Everybody messages Quinn. Everybody messages Quinn all the time. Especially when he's streaming. They don't know. It's not their fault. Okay, let's do that. Right here. We will do an offset entity of that. We'll reverse that guy. And he's going to do an we'll do an extruded cut through here. Okay. Go away from. Get away from me. Go. Got our rough cuppy cup. We got our cuppy cup. Do you have a cuppy cup? Cuppy cups in your area are waiting for your call now. Cuppy cup. It could be. It could happen to you. You're gonna find I'm gonna talk a little bit less on this one. Our last couple of streams just wrecked my throat. Just wrecked my throat. How do I dream of this? How do I dream of Genie here? Right. Okay. Let's try something. We're going to try something. It's not going to go well. Nope. That's the one. We're going to try something. Let's do a thing. Let's try a thing. Let's thing a try. This a bit better. And on the top plane, we're trying stuff. Hey, these guys are trying stuff. Okay. What happens if we try this? Let's do a lofted base here to here. Makes sense. Can't breathe. All right. Not a fan. Okay. That's not the sketch I wanted to copy. Go. Let's move this plane down a bit. 2. I'll go 45. All right. Now, I'm excited to loft from this guy, that guy. Yep. fillet this guy. Doesn't like the second edge, huh? Okay. Fillet this guy. 10. 20. Now let us hamburger spaghetti. We're adventuring.
Can't forget about you, baby, baby, can't forget about you. Really, really can't forget about you.
I got some plans. I got some plans. Hey Quinn, do you have some plans? I got some plans. You are hanging out with Quinn while he does some designing. Welcome. You're wondering, what the heck am I doing? You know what? I might as well explain what I'm doing. I'm trying to create a more flat front while maintaining the curved rear cup. I'm trying to increase... so there's actually technically three things we really want to consider. There is the radial load, there's the torsional load, and then there's actually a combo of the two where it wants to twist. That's actually even a more likely load. And so I feel like putting a square edge on the very front of the spoke and having the curved rear will actually resist the twist more, which is interesting. To me anyways. Okay, switch the direction here. Yeah, go through all of it. Heck it all off. Alright. We're gonna mirror this guy. So we're going to hide some planes here, because they get distracting. We got our little spoke boy here. Local spokes in your area. Spoke folks. I have a feeling that not quite deep enough. We'll have to make some changes to that in a bit here. But we'll get to that. We'll get to it. Alright, what I want to do here is do this. Fill it. Maybe not 20, maybe 10. Yeah, there we go. Now we can mirror this boy. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to, the computer doesn't quite get as confused. There we go. And now we can also do a circular pattern. We can tell us this guy here, we want to go around this guy. Whoop. There we go. He ain't bad. He ain't good. He is somewhere in there. You know what we're going to do? We're going to delete this. See you later, chump. Cool. We're going to edit this feature here. We're going to do 25 maybe. There we go. And then this mess here, we're going to edit that feature. which is probably 17.5. And life should be good here. Yeah, life's looking good. There we go. Got a little bit more meat down on the base there. A hot, meaty base. The hottest, meatiest bases in your area. Our hot meat base. Oh, I like the little wooby here. Oh, it woobs out. I like that. Good woobs. Top woobs. Alright, let us do some sketch. We're going to sketch on the right plane. The right plane, sketch. There we go. Just to be sure. Jersey Shore. Top shore. He's very sure. Okay, and then we'll do some rotational cuts. So we'll yeet it. This is really the big deal here is this guy. This little cut. Okay. Living in a furnace room with Quinn. Hey Quinn, what are you doing? Well, I'm living in a furnace room. Great. Kinda. This guy doesn't have to. He doesn't. You can do whatever, dude. There you go. Let's see how that looks. It's not bad, says local reporter. Let's give it that fillet. Oh, might be a bit aggressive. Let's give him a 5 mil. That's a little less aggressive. Yeah. Okay, let's do some cuts. Top cuts. Scuts. Okay, we got our cuts going on there. We got our scuts. We got our cuts. We got our scants and our jants. We got our skints and our wints. Top scuts. Sports. Local sports. Brought to you by Local Sports. Local Sports, brought to you by Local Sports. Did you know that Local Sports yeah, like that. Trim it. Bum bum. Da 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 da. Da da dee doo 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 doo. Da 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 doo doo. Scants and scoots. Good. 5? 5's too much, eh? 2.5? That'll do. Yeah, chomp out any weight that doesn't need to be there. What we will do, though, is something I done forgetted to do. Just to make this double the fun. Control A. Yeah. Wow. That side was braver somehow? It don't like that, so let's undo that. Yeah, and we'll just mirror this. No, it don't like that either. You know what? I can trick you. Or maybe the program's trying to tell me something. Maybe we should cut all the way through. Well, what's it look like if I were to do circular pattern? Bodies. Actually, do a mirror here of the body. Maybe it's right and I'm wrong. You know what? No. I'm right. Bench, you don't tell me what to do. Is there any other stuff I want to do in here while we're doing that? I could probably put a little hole in there though, to be fair. Okay. One thing we do want to do, is we want to do some spinning. So let us create the ultimate in Ultimates. That sucks, but you know what? Let's take a look at how these guys interact. How do you interact? Are you a possible shaped machine? A little bit tricky, I'll be honest here. We can put as a fillet. We can put as a fillet. Come on. No? No? What if we put the fillet to begin with? Yeah, you could, yeah. Yeah, and then we put the fillet. Actually, how big can we make him? Can we make him 5? 2.5? We can make him 2.5, which is great. And make fillet. And life is good. Okay. Now we're gonna have to do some chormping here. Again, top chormping. So let's chormp. What do you mean by chormp, Quinn? Well, I mean exactly that. Let's chormp. Soy. No. Let's give it that. There we go. Let's trick the computer. Hey computer, you thought you already made a full wheel, but you didn't, because I'm going to trick you. Yeet. Extruded boss. Blind. Through all. Change direction. There you go. And then we can then mirror this guy. So let's give him a mirror. We're going to mirror along this face. We're going to use this body to mirror. Now life is looking topping sports. USA, number 1. And then we do a circular pattern. We'll tell this, hey guys, we want you. And then we got this guy. There we are. So we've really opened up this center here. This is neat looking, I'll say. I'll say it's the neat looking. He's the toppest of neat tops. It's a neat top. Let's make those bodies 1 to begin. Additive manufacturing. This is not additive manufacturing. We'll fillet these guys? Should he be fillet? Could he be fillet? Will he do 5 mil? Will he do 10 mil? He will do 10 mil. Okay. Because that's a pretty sharp edge. It seems almost impossible to manufacture. So let's remove any sort of confusion. Fusion confusion. Okay, this guy's pretty chomped a bit. We got some chomping going on here. We'll clean up our outside. We'll do the sports. Offset from this guy. Nope. We're gonna select you. We'll do an offset. We'll do him 5 mil. Wow, Quinn. Wow. Yeah. He's 9 mil. We'll do this a lot easier. 9. Circular pattern of 15. Oh, okay, don't do the circular pattern of 15. That's cool. I don't know why. Achieve your goals. Live your dreams. Explode your brain into space. Real space. Okay, we got a wheel. It's a little bit different. We flared the face out quite a bit to move out to the spoke. Let's do a guesstimate of our mass. So he's 1262. That's pretty low. If we jump into this guy here, moving down to version 5. V5 weight of 62 gram. Strength. There you go. So it looks like we've got some stuff happening here. part 1 results. We got part 2 results. This is coming together. Thanks for hanging out, by the way. Now let's take a look at him and see how he's going to fail. You know what? We have a problem. Let's take a look here. Cut, extrude. Oh, well, first off, we're going to save this bench. Part 2. Version 5. We are going to make a change to him now. Because I made a mistake here. I haven't put in a fillet here. 5. There we go. I just want to add a little bit more strength to that. And then we should be okay. Okay, yeah, everything's good there. And this guy should get a little chonkier because of that. Not much. Maybe a half of a gram. This all seems actually very attainable from a machinist standpoint. Especially these big curves on the back. It looks like I can just drop a ball mill in there and just kind of like go at it with a CNC. So that's not too bad. Not too bad. One thing we are going to do, a quick tidbit, is we're going to sketch on this guy here. I'm going to chip the ends of that stuff off because it doesn't really actually make the wheel any stronger. It just makes it heavier, so why not yeet that skeet. There we go. Yeah, we just chipped the ends of that off. Nothing major. Yeah, we've actually saved some weight. I think there could be some weight saving in this area here, in this stuff here. So we might want to do a part A on this version 5, just to see. Actually, I'm feeling like this one's so far the best one, even though it's, I mean, we just kind of whipped it together. So length of time designing doesn't always result in quality of design, if that makes sense. And so just because you spent less time on something doesn't mean it's like less superior than something you spent more time on. The results speak for themselves. So let's start getting other computer prepped here for our stress test analysis, our finite element analysis, FEA. Again, the stuff that we're doing is very rudimentary. I am not in any way an engineer, so don't follow what we're doing as rule or law. But also, some engineers suck at their jobs too. So maybe I do better, maybe I do worse. The reality is that we're doing something more than maybe somebody who doesn't do FEA testing. But there's probably people who are smarter than me out there. There's definitely wait. There's definitely a huge chunk of people that are smarter than me. There's quite a few that probably could do a better job if they were tasked with this, but they're not. I am. Okay. Yeah, most of this seems machinable. This corner up in here is a little tricky. And honestly, drilling this hole through here is actually probably the hardest part of this. But it looks like it's attainable from both this angle here and that angle there without having too much material in the way. So it should be okay. You gotta worry about the Chuck getting in there. Hi, my name's Chuck. I might get into your stuff. Yeah. Okay. Chuck. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready to. Let's give this guy a save. And we'll file save as. And we'll put him into our network here so I can stress this boy out. Don't be dumb. It's there. I know it's there. I'm in it now on the other computer. Don't you be stupid. Yeah. Dumb. You're dumb. Windows 10 sucks at networking. Windows 8 or Windows 7, I think I have on my other computer. Yeah, no problem. Cool. Yeah, sweet. I found that. Yeah, this is still searching for that network. It's still like, ah, there we go. Okay. Go, save that. I'm gonna close this for a second while I open up another one. Just so it's not like, hey man, is this a copy of this thing from another thing? Because it's still, SolidWorks is pretty smart. That's stress. No. Nope, you're thinking about the wrong file there, SolidWorks. No, you're dumb. That's the one we want. You did it. Okay, I'll open them up. This guy here now. Sure, we'll open up a copy of that. Actually, what I'll leave you with is some pictures of our previous stress test while I create a new one. Go. There we are. Sweet. If you're hanging out, thanks for hanging out with us. We're just kind of continuing our previous design study. This style of stream is only going to happen every once in a while, but I just want to show people kind of how our process works. I've got a static test here. We are going to create a virtual wall. Oh, we need our keyboard. How many keyboards are you running today? There are some of you out there that are running like 9. The severe majority of you out there are running only 1, if none at all. You're on your phone. We're going to torque. What do we want to torque? We want to use 10,000. No. 10,000 Newton meters. You know what? I hacked this. I hacked this all up. Forgot to do a thing. I have to redo this. Alright, that's not a big deal. Okay. create a virtual wall. There we go. Create some fixed geometry on our lug seats here, because they need to be held down nice and firmly. No, that last one. That's the one. There we go. Now we are going to get a torque. Torque is going to exist here and here on this axis. We're going to use 10,000 Newton meters. There we go. So we'll start life out with a radial test. Our next step is to create a mesh. We're going to do pretty fine. Do a pretty fine mesh. Sweet. It's happening. It's working. Once we're done our stress tests here, this will be the last of our part 5, or version 5 of part 2. I'm going to collect all our data together, and then we'll make some choices about this. We'll look at everything sort of stacked against each other. Our goal is to kind of like figure out which one's like most obviously the strongest one. We'll take a visual clue or hint. We'll look at deformation of it, but also collection of forces. Although it'll give us some numbers, we actually want to find out where forces are collecting most aggressively. And that's a visual cue. You just do you, computer. Struggling. Sweet. Yeah, I'm really excited to be able to work on to the next step, our part 5 of this. Part 5 is going to be kind of fun because I'll get to stylize the wheels a little bit. But additionally, I'm excited because we'll get to really refine it. So even if there is an area that still has some stress, we can sort of tweak that area, add a little bit more meat, or take it out of somewhere that is less stressed out so we can distribute the force. Sometimes that's actually better, weirdly enough. So you might have a spoke that's really thick in one place and really thin in the other. Now you could add meat to the thin area, but that still might not be the optimal shape for that. Sometimes by removing material or adjusting the shape of that material in areas where it has more strength, it actually distributes some of that force to the areas that have that are underworked. So weirdly enough, yeah, or pulls stress away from some of the areas that are under strength. So it's actually about. It's not always about being additive, and it's not always about being subtractive. You've got to kind of find the balance between the two. And that's the goal here. Let's take a look. We have our first stress test results of our 2 tests that we're going to do here. I'm going to record these here. And then we'll do our next stress test. There we go. Let's go to that. This guy. It'll be interesting to see the differences here. When using 2 keyboards, I always get confused. Okay, file, save as, JPEG, network. 2, version 5. Screenshot number 1. Save as. Okay. 2, version 5, screenshot number 2. All right. Let's move on to our second test. So we're going to duplicate this test. We're going to change our angle of torque. So I'm using our first axis here. Use our axis number 2. And then we can run this guy. We'll see how he does. I'm always curious with this stuff.
Ecstasy is a street name for the drug methylene deoxymethamphetamine, MDMA, an amphetamine-based synthetic drug with euphoric effect, stimulant.
Neat. Sweet. Now I'd like to get back to doing some video game streams in the future here. Let's see how this guy deform. Oh, he's solving. He's being solved currently. Well, today's stream is kind of not brought to you by caffeine-free Diet Cola, because it's as close to water as you can get. Tasty, tasty water. It basically just tastes like Coke Zero without any caffeine. And I really like Coke Zero, so dear Coca-Cola, if you're looking for a fat middle-aged man who's good at drifting really dumpy cars, give me a call. Send me an email. The waiting stream. Wow, I hung out with Quinn and he was just we just sort of waited around for a while. That's a big part of this. I'd really like to do some tubular spokes in the future, like hollow ones. Really difficult to design or build that. I might actually do a version 6 now that I think of it. There's a version 6 in my head right now that I just thought of and I want to do. How about it, stream? Should we do it? I think we should. We'll do a version 6 just for sport. Once this one's done, I'm going to do a version 6 because I have a weird idea in my head that's probably not going to work. But I'm excited to try it out. For sport. Version 6 is going to be impossible to manufacture. It won't be real. You can't make it. It'll be fun. Oh, I'm excited to try it out. It's gonna suck. It's gonna go badly. Oh, please finish your stress test analysis, please. I'm excited to move on. I want to do the new thing. Actually, we can even just start the new thing. Oh yeah. While we're waiting, let's do it. My roommate's out there swearing about video games. I love it. Let us create a new. This is gonna go weird. Tell you what. That is wrong. Oh, that's broken. Okay. Yeah, something like that. There we go. Oh my god, he's out there going ham. Our stress results just came back on our other wheel, so let's record those real quick, and then I can share those with you, and then we can continue where we're at. Go. Go. We got the print screen. There we go. Let's do it. You're hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. Okay. I'm going to share with you our results. So we've got our there we go. So this was our stress test on our part 2 version 5 here. So we've got a lot of torsion in our spoke here. Our spoke's taking a lot of the work, and the hub area isn't really doing a lot of work. Our strength for our axis or radial stress test, and we have our torsion test. This guy here is actually doing okay. He's not bad in that. I just want to eyeball him a little bit further. Yeah, he really didn't build a lot of stresses even in the backs of the spokes now that I'm looking at it, which is neat. So he's actually pretty stiff. He's stiffer this way than he is this way, although I think he's probably pretty strong overall, so that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not seeing any like major collections of forces. The most collection of force we have is kind of in the corners of these spokes down here. If you take a look with me here, kind of see just a little bit down there. It's just on a sharp edge. So if we were to do a further version of him, it would be to maybe get rid of that sharp edge. But for the most part, he is doing great. Yeah, and it looks like if I'm looking into his radial tests here, so if we go back to his radial test, the same thing's happening on the radial test. It is just that sharp edge in the corner is really almost actually extra material where forces can collect, so we would have to remove him to really get a good... So it's not bad. he distributed forces pretty evenly, which is nice. Nice. As we get further into these versions, it gets harder and harder to determine what is the best outcome, which is annoying. Okay. The phone needs to stop vibrating and wiggling. There we go. Awesome. So, we'll come back to that. I am just lost in the idea of another version of this wheel, just for sport. Let's loft a guy here. So we're gonna go from which one? Right. We'll use contour one. Contour 2. No, we'll delete. There we go. He's looking pretty good. And we'll do a lofted cut.
Face to face, I found my pain beneath the lies and broken dreams. Lost the love I had in me. It tore me apart, fade away. I felt so lost, but I held on to what I had. For what it's worth, if you feeling low.
This is a wild concept. Please ignore this, by the way. I'm just having fun.
Just know that it's never too late to make a change. Crash and burn, I found myself beneath the emptiness. Wanting more, I let it go. Holding on to love. Breaking through, I feel alive. For once in my life, I'ma live by the one to be.
Yeah, it's wild. Let me tell you what.
Let the rest just crash and burn. Crash and burn. Oh, let it crash and burn. This one for the person who feels alone. This one for the hero who has no home. This one for the one who lived for hope. Changing better days. Pick your head up. Keep on fighting. Living, loving. Make your mind up. If you want it, take it. Fly away. Soaring high above the clouds.
There you go. And we can do a sketch. Front plane here.
Crash and burn, I found myself beneath the emptiness.
This is so silly. Okay, let's do sketch. Plane. Do a pattern. Ooh, this song sucks. Oh no. It's not good. Okay, it is not my personal type of music. Other people may enjoy it, but that particular one was not great. It doesn't like that surface. Like, no, that's no good. We're going to 15. Seems not bad. Can we draft this outwards? At 15, we can just do that. Yeah. No. Let's go a bit further then. Let's draft this at 10 degrees. Yeah, it's going to go at just a bit more. So 17.5. That's just about right. There we go. I will go 9 degrees. There we are. Actually, let's do this. Yeah, we're just doing what feels good, by the way, here. Go. Fill it this guy. Do 20 on him. There we go. This is an impossible wheeled machine, by the way. It would never work. We'll do 10. 10's great. The impossible wheel. Alright, before we get back to our cut and extrude there, let's get into our right plane. Let's do a sketch. And let's revolve this boy. Huh? Nani? There we go. Actually, before we even do that, let's make sure we improve our interactions here. Okay. 2.5 will do for me. One? Will you do one for me? What about this? 10. Go. No, you don't like that? Okay. We're gonna ignore that. No one's gonna see it. Alright. This is wild. I want to stress test this really badly just to enjoy the tubular spoke life. Now, I did that wrong because I actually don't want to mirror it that way. I want to mirror it along here and then like this. And we actually want to create some fillets here. So internally, we'll do the internals. Mow. Hi Bean, welcome to an alternative to screaming at your computer. You can scream at mine. It's the Scream at Quinn's computer stream. Let's try this. Can I fillet multiple thing? 5? 10? 20? 15? 10. I like 10. Five. 1. 2.5. 1 it is. Okay. Doesn't want to fill up the inside. That's okay. Oh, Macintosh, you are so difficult to deal with. Sincerely, the entire world. You know, it's funny. Macs are really good if you have a lot of money. So if you can pay for the software, they are better than PCs. But the problem is that they overcharge for their software and they make it really hard to borrow software. Yeah. Honestly, in the long run, the Mac is better if you are a professional for most stuff, but it is unattainable if you're an amateur at it, and that's why most people just play on PCs for the most part. I did read that. I didn't have time to reply to it, but I did read that. And I think most people are like that. Yeah, most people feel that way about Steve Jobs as well. So you're in the majority. You're not in the minority. So feel yeah. Actually, we're gonna redo that. Yeah. I did want that. I do want the meat. Okay, let's. This particular design is impossible to manufacture. This is not, unless we use some sort of loss foam casting process, maybe. But I'm just doing this one for fun because I'm enjoying doing this one. So yeah. This is version 6 when we've already completed our 5 versions. So yeah. We wanted to combine these bodies. We want to add them together. There we go. Now, we need... our little guy to do his little job. Hey, you're the little guy. And it's like, hey, man, I want to do my little job. And I'm like, hey, man, do your little job. Now, let him... yeah, there we go. Do this boy, this your boy, Tube Spoke Man. It's me, Tube Spoke Man. Hi, Tube Spoke Man. What do you mean you're a tube spoke? Well, check it out. He's a tubular spoke. He's empty on the inside. These edges here suck. I don't think I can fill up them now. 1.1 of a millimeter. No, it won't. It just won't. It just hates it. So yeah, that's not going to deal with stress well. But it's also impossible to manufacture that shape, anyways. So I'm not too worried. But I want it to be fun. Work should be fun. Yeah. Trim time. USA. Trim, trim, true. Okay. These should be 5. Sank. It's thanked to sank. Circular. Ficheros. Extrude. Don't be rude, extrude. 15 millimeters should do us just fine. We're gonna fill it this at 5. Sank. 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 You done did. Let's give this guy a chamfer at 0.1 of an inch. It's you. Awesome. And our last but not least, we need to do our chomping. So we're going to chomp the edge off this. He's going to be 9 mil. It's going to do 15 rotations around the globe. And then we're going to do some chomping. Trimp, 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 trimp. And zoot, 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 zoot to lore. I can't remember what Zoodalore is French for, but you know, here we are. There we go. We did it. We made a hollow spoke wheel. This is probably going to fail or deform very strangely, but I'm curious about our weights here. So our mass here is extreme. It's retardedly light. It is 900 grams. To give you some context, the lightest wheel I think we made for version 5 was I think 1,300, 1,200 grams. So this is retardedly light. Now, this is going to fail spectacularly. Okay, what you're going to see is, and I'm going to tell you now, you're going to see a lot of deformation right here. It's going to deform quite a bit right there. But we're going to stress test this for sport. Because that's fun. Part 2, version 6. Because it's impossible. So save this on our stress testy computer for sport as well. I'm excited to stress test this, and then we're going to dive into some photoshopping here. We're going to compile all our results and create a final image for our part 2 so that we can figure out what to do with part 3. Okay. Come on, network boys. Teamwork here. Impos, and this is going to be stress. There we go. Save. Okay, let's close that up. We'll put a little graphic on the screen here for you so you got something to look at. And let us stress test part. Yeah, I'm excited for this because this is gonna suck. It's gonna do some wild shit. It's gonna look neat. Tell you what, she's a pretty looking wheel. In a mother can love kind of way. Let's create a new study here. I'm really excited actually to see. You know when you play a video game, you're playing SimCity, and they're like, "Do you want to blow this up?" And you're like, "Yeah, I do actually." How did you know? And they're like, "Yeah, we often feel the same way as well. We too want to build a city and then destroy it." And so yeah, I like these stress tests because it kind of reminds me of that. You get to wreck a thing. And so I'm, I guess, more excited for this one because it is even further close to, like, I know it's going to do weird things when we fail it. So that's what's kind of most exciting to me. It's going to do some weird shit, and I'm excited. Wow. If you're hanging out, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I do want to do some more video game streams. I will do more. I'd like to find a couple more cool Japanese gems. In the meantime, while we're hanging out here, you can check out one of my stickers. This is a current recent sticker that we've made. These will be up for sale soon. These take me about 45 minutes to an hour to make. So I made 4 so far at a 12. They take a long time. They're very fidgety, but they're fun. Okay, we have meshed this guy. Let's wreck him. It's gonna yell at me, by the way. It's gonna be like, it's struggling. It's gonna give me that it's struggling thing. Yeah, these guys turned out pretty decent. Ta-da! These guys will be up for sale. These guys are gonna be pricey because they take a lot of effort to make, and my time is worth something. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm confident that it's worth something. But yeah, so if you like them, you gotta pay for my time. I've always wanted to do a hollow spoke wheel. I'm sure there's some other ways we can sort of add a little bit of meat or girth to this. I think I should have put a lip or a ring on the center hub about it. It'd almost be worth making a a second piece, like increasing the bore in the center of the wheel, and having a second like support piece in there, so that when you bolt the wheel down, it sort of locks it all in to support the center of the wheel. But here we are. I have some more dreams in the future in regards to creating hollow spoke wheels, but I want to make them more attainable from a machining standpoint. Cool. It didn't deform as far as aggressively as I thought it would, which is wild. Wild. Okay, I'm going to save these results just like normal, and I'll share them with you in just a couple minutes here. So let's do that. Just gonna make sure I'm recording this stuff as we go. I'm actually surprised at how little the center deformed comparatively to my expectations. I don't know if that's good that my expectations weren't correct or not on this particular one, but we'll find out. We're going to run the second stress test here. This one should take considerably longer, but
As I wake up every morning, I wish the day would end. Because a day without you in my life,
Mao.
I don't know how to mend.
Mao.
I was like, you were like,
That's neat. I'm excited. If you are hanging out either with us live on Twitch here, or if you are checking out our video later on YouTube, you can always buy some t-shirts from us. Speedhero.ca, that's it, .canada.ca, speedhero.ca. You'll find some of our t-shirts on there, some of our stickers as well. So give me money, give me your cash, so I can focus on doing stuff like this more often. That's really what that does is I run a Patreon and I sell some goods, and the purpose is that I can spend time doing stuff like this instead of maybe stuff that I don't feel is helpful for my goals and dreams. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with working for somebody else as long as you support their goals. Do have to shout out to those who already contribute. So I got a bunch of people on my Patreon that that continually contribute to helping me out, and it is so darn helpful. I can't stress enough how much those people help me. So it's really nice. So I have that time to give you to do a shout out or a thank you, and I thank those people. It's really nice of them. Because I wouldn't be able to do stuff like this if they weren't helping me out that way. So it's nice. Yeah. I want to do a little bit of math while I'm thinking here. Neat. Okay. Our second test is running. Our first test was surprisingly decent, weirdly enough. Again, these wheels are impossible to manufacture. There's no way, there's no affordable way to be able to create a hollow spoke of this shape that we've made. I've made this spoke in order to try to adhere or try to attain an ideal spoke design for distributing force. What's weird to think is that a pipe, if you had a solid pipe, is actually softer or bends easier than a hollow pipe. And it has to do with creating planes, essentially creating a plane to bend on. Is in a solid pipe, you can actually draw a straight line through it and you can bend there. Some of it will be compression. Some of that material will be compressed, and some of that material will be stretched apart. And so it's really easy to just make essentially a central access point for that to bend on. The problem with a tube or a hollow pipe is that can't exist. There's no material there. And so when you try to bend that, it actually distributes the force around the outside a lot better, which is like hurts the brain. It uses less material, but it's stronger. Sort of, yeah. The only problem is if you dent your pipe. So if you were to dent your hollow tube and flat spot it, it's going to bend really easily. So there's that trade-off. And so it depends on how you're using the wheel or whatever you're designing. If you are ever going to have those dents like a rally car, then that hollow spoke actually is really dangerous. You get that dent, now it's going to fail really, really aggressively. But if you're using something like a formula car, that hollow spoke is absolutely amazing. You're never going to have like a rock or a tree really come up and hit that spoke. And so it's actually beneficial there. So you really have to understand your usage of your wheel in order to find out if you've designed the best wheel for it. You'll see a lot of rally wheels actually have guards or protections. They're actually designed for forces to come in at a lot of different angles. A rally tire, rally wheel won't always have a beautifully smooth surface. So they're actually really strong and often very heavy wheels, sadly. The goal to find the lowest weight wheel for your particular application is a dangerous one in rallying. Where in something like a Formula car, yeah, those forces are going to be applied differently. In a rally car, you're going to find a lot of force like coming down on the, like, let's say this is the tire, you're going to have a lot of force coming at it like this, and then you're going to have random objects hit it. But in like from a torsional perspective, you actually don't need a lot of torsional strength or even radial strength to them, simply because you're sliding on dirt, so the dirt doesn't have a lot of traction, and you're also accelerating on dirt, so again, it doesn't have a lot of traction, but you need a lot of impact strength with them. So there's those trade-offs. In a Formula car, yeah, you're going to need very little impact strength, and you're going to need a lot of radial and torsional strength. All of our tests during this have not considered impact stuff, because we're actually not designing for that. We're designing for an on-track Miata. So, cool. Our version 6 actually just stress tested, and there is a weak point in it, and it's just due to a failure of my design. But I'll share the results with you here. Give me a second. It's going to document those results for fun. Come on, keyboard. Don't be dumb. There you go. Now, I'm going to take just a quick screenshot of where the actual failure is of this wheel. And just to show you how easy it would be to clean this up if we needed to. Cool. So that you're gonna do that to me, huh? Okay. There we go. So I'll show you our results here. This is our version 6. Our radial test actually turned out pretty decent. It didn't really deform too aggressively. The distribution of our forces is pretty even on this guy, which is nice. And you can kind of see that in this as well. There's actually no areas of any sort of buildup of excess stress, I guess. So it's pretty cool that way. Our torsional test. So this was our radial test. Our torsional test, we saw a little bit more deformation. So this would be like cornering really hard. The big area we saw actually was on the back of the spoke here. So that's actually just from my design error. We could actually just add a little bit of material there, and things would be great. Like maybe a couple grams of material, and that would actually solve that up. So it's actually not bad. It's our lightest design, but it's also the one that's most impossible to make. So sadly, if you're watching this stream, we won't be making a wheel like this. But it's neat to see that you can do that. We could even build a lighter wheel than we've planned ahead of time if we had the manufacturing resources. The problem is that cutting out those pockets inside of the spoke. So if we go back to our, we go back to this guy here, cutting out these pockets inside here, although ideal for removing weight and increasing strength, is nearly impossible. There's no tool that can come in from any angle and get in there. So you'd have to cast this way. They have what is called loss casting. So what you'd do is you'd actually create a piece of, let's say, plastic or even a metal that melts at a higher temperature. You would create that. You would then cast around it and try to remove it later. That's really tricky process to do. It can be done. It is done, but it's difficult. Yeah, and so you would do a couple things. Maybe you would change the shape of how the tip of this is. The tip actually could cut up into here and even reduce even more weight and improve strength. But yeah, this is actually an impossible design. This is nearly, well, not, I wouldn't say impossible, but very, very nearly impossible. The area where we could add some strength here is this weak point right here. So this, from about this corner over to this curvature, that area needs to be just add a little bit of material in there and you'll have some better strength. Neat. So yeah, we have essentially completed part 2. Let's summarize our part 2 here. Let's do so. So we're gonna summarize this. So green hair and ham. Yeah, how to bald yourself? Check it out. Yeah. There's hair there. This doesn't show up on the camera for some reason. Yeah, I'll do. We want part 1, 2, 3, part 4, and part 5. Okay, how did we do this last time? Because that looked kind of good, I guess. Okay. Go. Kidding me? Stupid. Go. Oh, that sucks. Okay. You want part 1, version 1. You're gonna tuck up in here, and you're gonna have the same problem, having a couple hidden pixels falling off the side. There you go. Part 2, version 2 is gonna. We'll update our canvas here. Canvas size, width 125. Do. Oh no. 2 version 3. And version 5. Go. Do a little bit of a crop here. Go. Go. And edit. Fill. Right, there we go. Actually, we'll fill this. There we go. Cool. All right. This is version 1. Doik. This will be version 2. This will be version 3. And 4. There we go. I want to give these guys some grams. Let's take a look at our specs of these guys. So we had this will be 1253 gram, and we'll make him normal and kind of small. There it is. Okay. This guy's going to be 8 gram. This will be 1124 gram. Five gram. And then this guy here will be 1262 gram. The really big thing is like figuring out which is actually the best. Which did the best. I'm gonna leave that up to you, Chad. If you're hanging out with us and you're watching, I'm gonna leave it up to you to figure out which one did the best one. Well,
control for the gun finger. Causing a riot, I'm causing a mix up. Pour me a big cup, faded. I'm riding a tidal, wavy. Draw for the gun, 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 draw for the gun finger. Draw for the gun, draw for the gun. Draw for the gun finger. Causing a riot, I'm causing a mix up. Pour me a big cup, faded. I'm riding a tidal, wavy. Faded. Pour me a big cup, faded. Draw for the gun finger. Now that I'm back to dimension, man, I come back with a vengeance. Walk in the spot and I drop one track that I know will grab their attention. Straight headshot, man, I go for the kill. Guys wanna talk about holding a mill. Ain't no food in your fridge now, you better focus on holding a meal. Draw for the gun finger. Draw for the gun finger. Draw for the gun, draw for the gun, draw for the gun, draw for the gun, draw for the gun finger. Draw for the gun finger. Draw for the gun finger. Causing a riot, I'm causing a mix up. Pour me a big cup, faded. I'm riding a tidal, wavy. Faded. Pour me a big cup, faded. Draw for the gun finger.
Okay. So we've got all of our stress tests. There we go. Our music has decided that it hates us because it forgot that we actually want to listen. There we go.
I'm trying, but you can't see. You say my calls never come through.
What is our wording that we used on our previous one? Torsion stress. There we go. There we are. Part 2 stress. There we are. So from this, we've got to determine sort of what is the best here. And why. So if we're looking at version 1, the radial stress was much lower than version 2. Version 2 seemed to lose its mind when it came to radial stresses. Although the two are very similar in weight, there was some discrepancies in that. Our second one seemed to stress itself out much more than the first one when radial spun. But if we go take a look at version 1 versus version 2 in our torsional stress, they were roughly the same. They actually dealt with the torsional stresses very similarly. So out of the two, I would pick version 1 over version 2. If I were to dive into version 3 versus version 4, if we're looking at version 3 radially here versus our version 4, version 3 came out roughly the same. It looks, to me, it honestly looks like version 3 actually deforms more. Even though it maybe dealt with the stress a little bit better than version 4, I feel like it actually deformed less. And so version 4, I would pick over it. In regards to our torsional test between version 3 and version 4, I feel like version 4 might have done a little bit better. Although for the weight, version 3 was actually the stronger of the two based on just purely on weight to strength considerations. I feel like I still am biased towards version 4 in that case. But that may be me. So if I were to compare version 1, version 4, and version 5 together, I would say version 2 and version 3 are out at this point. Not sure how I feel here. Not sure how I feel. Honestly, it looks like version 1 is actually our best version, weirdly enough. Which is neither good nor bad, I guess. We are sort of coming across, so we have far less weight variations in this particular one. Our weight between all these seems to not vary quite aggressively, unless you think of version 4, which the weight varied aggressively. Give me a second here. Because I have some curiosities. I've got some curiosities. You know, it does look like version 1 really did come out on top here. Version 1 has the lowest amount of weight to the highest amount of strength. And it looks like I'll probably end up going with version 1, weirdly enough. So it's the closest, oddly enough, it's the closest to the version that I pictured in my head when I was just kind of laying down one night thinking about wheels. Yeah, it's interesting. Huh. I want to chew on this a little bit here before really jumping into doing anything further. Give me a second. Let's take a look at some statistics here. Just for sport reasons. Okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a break from this just to process these results. I'm going to sit on this a little bit and take a think. I'm happy I had a little bit of time to finish up this last little section here. I guess I'm just a bit surprised by the results, which is exactly what we want. We want to be surprised that we're making the right decisions. If we were to take a look at version 1, let's take a look at version 1 and see where it's getting its strength from and why it's getting that strength. So there is a problem with version 1. This area here will be really difficult to machine. It is possible. It doesn't mean that it's probable. But it is possible. Just this little extra lip that we've added in here for improved strength of mounting the press in lug nut areas. I'm feeling a little bit flabbergasted, I'm going to be honest. One area that's really good use or really good consideration is this section here. There's really no meat there that doesn't need to be there, which is quite good. What I do like is there's a lot of conflict of direction in this, but there's no... So a conflict of direction is something that makes the forces change direction, but what's really important is that they can't gather at a point. So there's lots of areas here where the force will come in and have to change direction. So we've essentially, by doing that, we make the area that the stress is distributed over larger. So each little piece of molecule is getting less stress. But what's really good about this one is that there are no areas for the stress to collect. So there's no point where stress comes up and like two areas where stress is coming down, another stress, and they meet. So even though they get distributed over a further distance, it's equally distributed, which is really the goal here. So that's kind of neat. Never press the costing button. I don't know what to do. It looks like I do nothing because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Now, from a manufacturing standpoint, is this attainable? It is, although there's going to be a lot of slowdown. When you're considering like CNCing or machining something, you want to consider how much time it's going to take and how much code. Those are two things. Those are two different types of slowdown. So if I were to just cut a circle, that is so easy to code and is so fast to cut that that's a very efficient use of your machinist's time. And so that works really kind of decently. You can quickly code it and you can quickly machine it. Coding is an expensive process. Basically, somebody sits down, they make sure that the computer can, the computer-controlled mill or lathe can make a really smart decision and can cut decent here. Hi Bean, welcome back. We're almost on our stream here. So yeah, somebody has to sit down and make sure that when the machine is told to go, that it's not going to run into itself or cut the wrong shape or break a tool or anything like that. So a lot of this code is auto-generated, but somebody has to go through and make sure that auto-generation is logical and is going to work. So the less complex the design is, the less work it is to review that code and make sure it's good. That's one way of saving time. You pay for that time. So when you are designing a wheel or creating a wheel, you have to consider like how much time am I going to spend paying somebody to create that code. Now, the nice thing about that is you can take that cost structure. Let's say I'm making 100,000 wheels. You know what? I'm going to pay that guy to decipher that code for like a week. No problem. He's going to dig through there, or he or she is going to dig through there, and they're going to find the best ways to make that code efficient. So that's okay. I can split that cost across the 100,000 wheels. It's going to be like 1 penny per wheel. But the problem is, if I'm only making one wheel and I have somebody spend a week deciphering and like checking and making sure the code works, that wheel's going to get really expensive. The next cost consideration is the amount of time it takes in the machine. If I'm a machine shop and I have somebody say, hey, can you make me 10 of these parts? That's fine, but if each part takes 2 weeks in the machine to cut, then that might be like keeping that machine from machining another part that might be quicker to do, or a bigger order, or maybe somebody who's willing to pay more. And so we have to not only minimize the amount of time that code is reviewed on, we have to minimize the amount of time it takes the machine to cut. And so this one here is going to get a little bit detailed in this area. Some ways to reduce the amount of time in the machine is to try to change the tool. So the thing that's cutting the metal is the tool, and different tools are used to cut different shapes. For example, this radius here is a fairly large radius if we look at this, and so it'll take a large tool, and if everything was the same tool or the same radius, then only one tool needs to exist to cut that shape. That's great. But this next little radius here means that we need to change tools. And so that radius there is a tool change. And tool change takes time, but also the tool is smaller, so it cuts the amount of surface area at a slower pace. So that kind of sucks as well. There's not a lot of tool changes in this, and to be honest, there's a lot of big tools that are going to be cutting this. But this little area here is going to use a small tool. This area here is going to use a small tool. And specifically this area here is going to use a very small tool, but it's also going to have to come in at a very strange angle. And so that sucks as well. Overall, a majority of the shape, though, doesn't require small tools. So that's good. So this might be a bit of a quicker design, but there is some detail work for it to come in and cut later. And that's going to slow down the process quite a bit. So those are some of my sort of thoughts and views on this. Yeah. There's also some weight reduction that we could do further on this. So this is where part 5 is going to come in. I think I'm at this point I'm set. Or at this point I'm decided on using part 2 version 1. I'm not committing to that yet, but if I were to follow this into our third part 3, and I was doing 5 versions of this, I'm going to play around with some weight savings on this. So we're going to cut away some weight. We're obviously going to add some decorative stuff to it to make it look a little bit more beautiful, or to pretty it up a little bit. But I can definitely see there's a couple spaces where we could save or cut out some weight to improve weights, or to improve weight savings without dramatically abusing the wheel here. But there is some slight room for improvement, I would say. Part 5, I think, is going to be the hardest part for me, as it's going to take the most amount of work. It's going to be very subtle, I guess, is where part 5 is going to come in, or part 3. Our five versions of part 3 are going to be difficult because it's going to be really subtle. It's going to be really, yeah. I think we can test some wild cuts. I think that's where we're going to get into. Is we'll test some aggressive weight savings from this design. What we'll do is we'll set this as our template, this particular one, and we'll chop around at it. I don't want to build it from scratch again like we've done with all our previous parts. I think I'm going to take this particular design, I'm going to cut and poke at it a little bit more, and we'll build 5 versions. We'll stress test those, and we'll even do some renderings to see how does it look. Does it look good? Does it look shitty? What do I like? How can we make this look better or worse? But yeah, I think between, like just initially here, between our mounting points here on our hub, there is some meat here that's doing no work, and that meat can heck off. Additionally, I actually feel like right up at the top of the spoke here, we could probably put a small hole to save some weight without actually affecting strength at all. Weirdly enough, I know you're like, what? How could you cut through that, like Quinn? Like that doesn't make sense. The reality is that the stress is mostly hanging out on the side of the spoke here. It's not really hanging out at the front of the spoke, and so we could actually cut into that a little bit and save some weight, even if it's not all the way through. If we just drop a hole in the back of this, as if you're drilling in with a big drill bit. So yeah, there is some opportunities here to sort of chunk a little bit of weight out of this. Without sacrificing the strength too much. So that's kind of neat. I'm excited for that, but I'm also a bit nervous for that part. So, yeah. But if you are hanging out with us, we're going to probably end the stream here. If you like some of the stuff that I'm doing, if you want to know more about it, you can always give me an email. You can always you can email me at like, you can check it out. There's a contact link at Speed Hero. Or you can catch me on Instagram at speedhero.ca. You can always send me messages there. I usually get those a little bit quicker. I'm a modern businessman. I like my Instagram. If you want to kind of hang out with us, we have a Speed Hero chat for our Patreon, so you can kind of hang out in the chat there, and we can talk in there. Yeah, and you can find some of our stickers and goods on our website, speedhero.ca. So anyways, thank you for hanging out. We're going to end the stream here. And we'll pick this up. Hopefully we'll have this done by week's end. I really don't want to do too much streaming that isn't video games. I'd like to do some more video games. So, yeah. Cool. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you another time soon. Bye!